My name is Chiwe Tandiwe-Chehana. We're co-hosting this event where we'll be honoring our elder. And in that way, by honoring one elder, we're honoring all our elders. And it's such a privilege and an honor to be standing before you in this space where it's difficult to even absorb the enormity of what today means to me, to many of you, and to those who are new to the professor's work. I'm sure you've become immersed and you've been converted. It's a special moment, and today we're going to make it very special. Many thanks to Racial Justice Network for this opportunity, the Center for Equity and Inclusion for collaborating on the organization, African Voices platform, and many, 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 many thanks to our hosts today, Utopia Theater. I don't think in Sheffield, personally, I have ever been in a space that is purpose-built for a moment like today. An African-led space that feels like home, it looks like home, and the food has been great, right? The food is home. So just a bit of protocol. For photography, let's have a bit of order. Of course, the professor will be happy to have photos taken, but please, let's be considerate. He's a senior man, he's an elder, as you would respect any person. Please, let's be very cautious and conscious of that, right? Mm-hmm. You dig? Mm-hmm. Toilets are that way. Would like to keep this space as sacred as possible. Obviously, it's yours to use as well, but if we could just keep it, because we've got an amazing lineup tonight. Woo! Apart from the professor himself, the man of the day, the man of the moment, you're going to hear a little bit from our host, Mojisola Karim Elufowoju. Yeah? You'll also be getting some poetry later down the line by some amazing young people that I have grown to see from the time they were just starting out in poetry. And boy, oh boy, Sheffield's got something to show you today. We're going to be, unfortunately, you've had the program, but one of our speakers could not join us because they're unwell, so Dr. Muna Abdi will not be joining us. But we will have another speaker from the delegation of Professor Ngugi Thiong'o that will be speaking today. We're going to have an amazing performance by John Ruothomak. And he'll be supported by Tongesai Gumbo, another fixture in the art scene. But what has been happening is that the speakers and the performers today are not the only piece of art that you should engage with. If you look around you, we've got art by young people of African heritage, be it diaspora Africans or Africans of Africa. This art that's displayed around here is by, we've got Chimdi in that reception area, so please engage with that. We've got Nicole Rose around this area, so please take time to do that. Engage with people. If you can, make time to even visit the upstairs and see what this space has done. But I'm going to leave that to Mojisola to explain to you. The highlight of today, though, is going to be the Guku. Where are you, Kenyans? Kikuyus. Guku? Guku, the ceremony, the name.
Gukunguira.
Huh?
Gukunguira. I just say straight. Gukunguira.
Now today is going to be about that. What an honor that Sheffield and the traditional leaders in Kenya are going to be bestowing upon this amazing man. Hello! Yeah. We get to see that, we get to live it, we get to be part of that moment. And I'm so glad that you'll be sharing in that moment with us. For now, please allow me to introduce to you CEO, Artistic Director, Founder of Utopia Theater, the most amazing Mojisola Ilofoja.
Thank you. Yeah. Some of you listened to me only a few weeks ago. You have to listen to me again. Anyway, hello everyone, and welcome to Utopia Theater Creative Hub and Performance Lab. I'm Mojisola Ilofoja, and I'm the CEO, founder, and artistic director of Utopia Theater. I'm absolutely delighted to be able to host today's special event and our esteemed guest, Professor Thiong'o. As a passionate advocate for the power of storytelling and the arts, I am truly privileged to have had the opportunity to produce this extraordinary play, The Black Hermit. I don't know any of you know that yet. So The Black Hermit was produced during the pandemic, and we produced it online. The Black Hermit is a play that transcends time and space, delving deep into the complexities of human nature and society. Ngugi Thiong'o's masterful storytelling, infused with rich cultural themes and social commentary, has captivated audiences for decades. It's a timeless piece, and I would encourage you all to read it. It explores the struggle between tradition and modernity, the quest for identity, and the pursuit of personal and societal transformation. From the moment I encountered this script, I was struck by its profound relevance and its ability to resonate with audiences across generations. The play's central character, the Black Hermit, embodies the internal conflict faced by individuals torn between the allure of the past and the promise of the future. Through the Black Hermit's journey, we witness the complexities of colonialism, cultural assimilation, and the enduring power of resistance. I look forward to a fantastic evening of ceremony, performance, speech, and poetry to mark this poignant and significant moment. The fact that we're here in Sheffield to mark this occasion is quite humbling, and it's thanks to all the partners involved as we work together to empower people from Black, Caribbean, and the global majority to share their voices even louder. Like I've said to a lot of people today, this space is yours. At Utopia Theater, we've been doing the act of ensuring that we all come together to tell our story for 10 years by staging powerful performances, hosting a range of workshops, and engaging with thousands of audience members. We're telling powerful, honest stories from our heritage, helping to open up opportunities that previously were not accessible. Culture and arts play a very significant role in raising aspirations by developing, nurturing a range of skills, as well as underpinning community cohesion, as you can see by the people here today. This space is the first of its kind in Sheffield, and is open to all community members to step into a safe, vibrant, and energetic space where they are encouraged to create, immerse themselves in the art they're passionate about, which represents their views as well. It supports our work as nationally and internationally recognized theater company dedicated to all of you. I would like to thank everybody that is here to witness this occasion. All that's left to say is that I hope you truly enjoy a thoroughly amazing evening that is a celebration of our heritage, promises, and immersive few hours of insightful and traditional activities. Thanks for everyone who is here to welcome Professor Ngugi Thiong'o. And thank you for visiting us. What an honor. As we gather here today, let us not only celebrate the brilliance of Ngugi Thiong'o, but also recognize the power of heart to shape the world. Thank you all.
Soon to be Dr. Mojisola Ilofoja. Very soon, it's happening. May I just take a moment to recognize all the elders that I'm seeing in this room today? Thank you so much for joining us. It is an honor that we can look up to you and we can sit before your feet And that exemplifies what today is going to be about, that we're going to be sitting by the feet of you, our elders. Thank you. So, speaking of generations, I told you there'll be 3 amazing people that will be giving some poetry. I just wanted to give name to that. Danae, Woda, and Sile. We're looking forward to your piece because I know that a lot of your work has been inspired by what is taking place today. I also wanted to recognize Meiko, whom I'm not seeing anymore. Thank you very much. Meiko will be performing as well, will be speaking at some point later today. For now, may I ask that everybody be upstanding? I will be passing this moment on to Githuku, an artivist that is highly celebrated in Kenya and around the continent of Africa and in many parts of the world. Githuku is the person that the leaders have sent to join us today and take us through this ceremony where we'll be honoring the professor. Ladies and gentlemen, Professor Ngugi wa Thiong'o. A round of applause, please. Keep clapping, keep clapping. And if you ululate in your culture, please ululate. Let's do this. Githuku.
When you are moving the chairs, don't drag it, please.
Okay, good evening, everybody. This is such a special evening. And first of all, I would like to thank you all for finding time to come. You are here on behalf of the universe. You are here on behalf of all those who did not make it. You are here on behalf of those who we left back at home. You are here on behalf of all the people who believe in what most of us believe right here. My name is Dongi wa Githuku. I am from Kiambu, Kavete, Kenya. And so I won't say much. We just go straight into the ceremony that we have planned. But it will be important to mention that it's such an honor to have Professor Ngugi wa Thiong'o around. It is always such an honor to read Ngugi, and it is always special for those who are privileged to meet him, like you. So this, I don't want to call it the Nobel, because Ngugi's Nobel is in the hearts of the people. So I guess then we can call it the People's Nobel, because that's what we are here for. But before we start the ceremony, I'll ask you all to rise. We are looking for Kenya, the direction, and Mount Kenya. Where is Mount Kenya? Thank you. So we face this way so that we give thanks and praises to Gai for bringing us this far and for giving us Ngũgĩ wa Thiong'o. And I'll ask that we, the women will receive the blessings, the men will raise their hands asking for blessings. So the women will receive, yes, thank you, Maito, and the men will face the mountain. We Ngai witũ wa Kĩrĩnyaga, nĩtuoka mbere yaku twĩnyihĩtie, tũgĩgũcokeria ngatho nĩ ũndũ wa gũtũhe muoyo, tũgĩgũcokeria ngatho nĩ ũndũ wa gũtũhe bũrũri, tũgĩgũcokeria ngatho nĩ ũndũ wa gũtũhe Ngũgĩ wa Thiong'o. Tũkĩte mbere yaku tũgĩcokia ngatho nĩ ũndũ wa marĩa mothe ũtwĩkĩire, nĩ ũndũ wa makinya marĩa mothe ũtũkinyithĩtie. Tuoka mbere yaku tũgĩkũũria ũthiĩ na mbere gũtũmenyerera, tũgĩkũũria ũthiĩ na mbere kũmenyerera Ngũgĩ witũ, tũgĩkũũria ũthiĩ na mbere kũmũhe ciara ciĩna hinya cia kũhota gũcana ng'ano iria citeithagia meciria ma mũndũ. Tũgĩkũũria ũthiĩ na mbere kũmũhe ũmĩrĩru o ta ũrĩa ũkoretwo mũhete mĩaka ĩyo yothe. Ona ithuĩ tũmenyerere, ona ithuĩ twakũũria ũtũhe thayũ, ona ithuĩ twakũũria ũtũtemere gacĩra o ta kau ũtemeire Professor Ngũgĩ wa Thiong'o. Thai, thathaia Ngai thai, can we all say thai? Thai, thathaia Ngai thai. Thai, thathaia Ngai thai. Thank you so much. So, in Gikuyu custom, this is called Kenya. Can we say Kenya?
Kenya.
It's very close to the name of the country, Kenya, right? This is where we put our traditional Moratina beer. Moratina beer is used in ceremonies to bless when a child is born, for initiations, for wedding ceremonies, and of course for a ceremony like this. Unfortunately, we could not get a visa for the Moratina. But Moratina, that's what I'm whispering to my good professor here. You know, I told him it's not the real Moratina, it's symbolism, and he said it's okay because Moratina is also made with water. So water is also life. So yeah, that's what we're going to use. Okay. That we do as libation to appease our ancestors. So we give them a bit of Moratina and to ask them for permission to go ahead with our ceremony. Mwalimu Professor Ngugi, tui haha, twinyihitie muno. Ithuĩ tũngĩhota kũruta wĩra ũyũ gũkĩra andũ arĩa angĩ. No nĩ gũkorwo nĩ ithuĩ tũhotithĩtio gũkorwo twĩ haha kahinda-inĩ gaka. Nĩguo tũgũcokerie ngatho. I'm saying thank you, Professor. We are humbled to be the ones that are in this space to do this ceremony. It's not that we are so special to be the ones doing it, but we are the ones who are here now. And so I ask that Gai, our God, give us the strength to be able to do a ceremony that will be acceptable to Gai. So I will start. Makinya maria mothe utuire ugerete, makinya mau marothie na mbere kurathimwo, makinya mau marathie na mbere gutukinyithia njira ĩrĩa yagĩrĩire. May the steps that you have always stepped continue to guide us. May they continue to take us towards the path of consciousness. And may God, Gai Mwene Hinya Wothe, continue to bless the steps that you guide us on. Moko. me ogua. May these hands be also blessed by Gai. May these fingers continue to have strength to write more and more and to fight the good fight. Todo thikũ ici tũtiroaga na ngudi. We don't fight physically. Tũroaga na karamu. We fight through the pen. I will also ask Guy to invoke hinya ule umanaga na hakiri na ngoro, the strength that comes from the mind and the soul, for it to continue being strong, for it to continue inspiring us, for it to continue liberating our minds, for it to continue decolonizing our minds. Okay. We now put on so these cowrie shells are a symbol of wealth, and we may translate wealth in many ways. This, I think, we translate the wealth of the love that Ngugi has given to all of us, and that he continues to spread to all of us. And I have the honor of cloaking the king, the emperor of literature, Muthamaki wa ngoro citũ, Muthamaki wa kũhonokia meciria ma mũingĩ. Rĩu nĩ ndakũhumba gĩthii gĩkĩ nĩguo ũthiĩ na mbere kũgĩa na ũrugarĩ wa gũtũteithia na wa gũteithia hakiri citũ. I have the honor of cloaking you so that you may get the warmth of continuing with the love that you have for all of us. And inside it says Ngũgĩ wa Thiong'o. Okay. And now, I don't know, I think this is the main moment where we crown the king. This fly whisk, in Gikuyu, we call it Gishudhe Kiangobe. Yeah? This was used by kings not to rule over people and beat them up, but to bring peace, to ask for peace, and to create winds of peace, and to help the king to guide the people towards the right way.
And now, I think we have Kikuyu ladies here. If not, when we make the relations the first time, the ladies can join in the others. Okay, Kikuyu ladies, I'm sure you know how to say gemi. Nemo ekuga gemi? Eh? Idano siaka he. Haya. 1, 2, 3. Ah!
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. By the way, our name for somebody, we didn't have monarchy, at least in Kenya. So the word he was trying to say in English is called Modamaki. Yeah, it's like Socrates, philosopher king, like yeah. Okay. Now, I'll speak in English, although Although you know my position on languages, we shall come to that. There are people here, many, who have different mother tongues. Okay. They don't speak equivalent. That's okay. With respect to all mother tongues. And wherever we can get a language that helps us to communicate with each other, that's also fine, as long as it's not dependent on abandoning our languages. If you know your mother tongue and add all other languages to it, that is empowerment. But if you know all the other languages of the world and you forget or you abandon your mother tongue, that is mental enslavement. Yeah. You know your language, you add any number of languages to it, it's very, very powerful. Okay? The colonial system, what it did was to say to us that we must, their languages are the beginning of all knowledge systems. Okay? And every African person here will know or will have heard of children in African schools being beaten, punished, humiliated when caught speaking their mother tongues in a school compound. If they speak English, they are honored, glorified. When they speak their mother tongues, which are used by the community, they are verified. Okay, in other words, they are being taught to identify with that which is farthest from themselves at their beginning of their being, and look down upon the languages spoken by their mothers, by their fathers, by the community. And they are punished, humiliated for that. Okay. English, European languages become, or languages of colonizer become glorified. Glory. The languages of the colonized are turned into gory. Gory blood. Okay. Glory form, European languages, gory blood for the languages of the colonies. It is true of all colonial systems, whether from continental Africa, Asia, Native Americans, and others. But shall come back to that one. Now, I first want to appreciate that ceremony which you're planning here. Oh. I first want to say thank you to the organizers of this get-together. And see that most of the organizers are ladies. So power and glory to the women. Women power, very, very important. But women, anyway, I digress a little bit. I'll come back to the main point of thanking them. So when I mentioned women, we should remember one thing. You, me, even you, all of us were carried by a woman for 9 months. Yeah. When we could not do anything, okay? None of us, every one of us. And that's a very important, always very important to glorify that all the time, right? But or is anybody here who was born by a man? Or is that? I don't think so, right? I just want to mention very, very quickly, and I don't want you to give a long speech, please. Okay. Because I like to start with things that we saw here. See they poured water on me, with my ears, my eyes. Okay, let's start with the organs of the body that touch. They were all to do with sense. Yeah. There. Uh-oh. I might forget and bite it, things that sounding. We hold it, I'll try and be okay. But if I stray too much, you're allowed to. Anyway. So anyway, all the sense of the body. And sometimes we don't appreciate the bodies we have. Right? There's nothing, not a single technology in the world that has not been, that the body cannot do. It will not do as well as other things like technology, but all the technologies in the world are already in our body. And I was giving a few examples because he touched my leg, he touched my ear. Okay. The technology of movement. We go by train, by cars, anywhere, by movement. We already have it. Okay? We walk. I can move from here to there. If I had time, if you had all the years possible, you can even walk around there. Only it will take a long time. Technology then helps us to do that in a short time. But the technology is already in the body, okay? Our legs, okay? The technology of, say, of hearing. You touch my ear, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
I hope I did.
Yeah, you did. Or now you did, you caught something there. Now, of hearing. Again, all the technologies of hearing, whether the radio or whatever, or telephones or whatever, they are projections of the power we already have. Only we cannot do it as efficiently or as quickly. Technology helps us to add power to a power we already have. And you can see the same thing. We've got 7 senses of the body. The sense of sight, telescopes, which help us to see stars or even tiny things in the universe beyond us. But we already have it. Our eyes, right? Our eyes can see. So telescopes and other things are pure projections of the body. And we can go on. Our ears, the sense of touch, technology of touch, is a projection of what we already have in the body. So that ceremony was celebrating the power of the body. Okay? That was indeed the power there. But you saw he also poured some water on the earth. Okay, yeah. Now, the earth, if the earth does not support us all, he's trying to use this technology. Yeah. The earth, symbolize the earth. That's what would that thing fall. I don't know why it would be. I mean, we must stand on the earth, firmly on our earth. Okay? All the food you grow, you know, earth, water, rain, correct? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that ceremony, which was even done by our ancestors, is celebration of the power of the body. Okay? We must be proud of our bodies, whatever we have. When we deny it, your body, my body, they are doing something horrible. I mean, not even horrible, anti-human, anti-life. Okay? Yeah. We must celebrate our bodies. We must celebrate what our bodies do with the earth we inherited, with the water we inherited. But note that it's not only we humans who depend on the earth. Animals too, insects too depend on the earth, and the water. So we must also respect that others use the same thing, the air we breathe, the water we drink. Okay? Isn't it? Yeah. It's okay. But those insects that so all of us are united with animals and insects because we depend on the same air, the same water system. Okay? We are connected with the earth, with each other, with the insects even. I once wrote a story called The Song of Ngũgĩ, in which a farmer is so angry with the fact that the bees have attacked his daughter, that he said all bees must be destroyed, and in fact all insects. Okay? By the time he plants crops, maize, you don't produce anything. Okay? Without those insects, there's no crops. Therefore, there's nothing for us to eat. Okay? Right? We are all connected with each other. We are connected with the earth, with the sky, the air. That's what that ceremony was all about. Yeah? Celebrating the unity of existence. Right? Yeah. So anybody, systems that want to destroy that unity of existence, whether the colonial systems or other systems of oppression, they are doing something which is not anti-human, anti-life. Right? Yeah. So that ceremony was touching on every aspect, really, of our being. And thank you very much for, in practice, so you know what I'm saying was, okay, right? Yeah, thank you very much. But I'm here at the invitation of a network for racial justice, or racial justice network. Is that the title? Yeah. Yeah. And I want to thank Wangari especially, because she has a way of making people do something. At least me. I teach I'm a distinguished professor of English and comparative literature at the University of California. And for the last 5 years, I have not been able to travel because my kidney failure and heart surgery. So I've been staying without traveling. But she managed she was not forced, we must come all the time, but she had a way. I don't know how it is, but I found myself eventually taking a plane. And here I am, so thank you very much, Wangari. Sometimes calling her Penny, please remember that's an insult. She's Wangari. Okay. Yeah. I want to talk a few minutes. Right there. Okay. I want to very briefly what I should be talking about when I give talks in Sheffield and Manchester tomorrow or wherever. I'm talking about normalized abnormality or the post-colonial. So I won't touch upon and end with that. But what do I mean by that? Right? We're normalized abnormality all around it. And we don't require our education system. Our knowledge does not want to talk about that. I'll give you 2 or 3 examples very quickly. I'll not elaborate too much on them, but you can, but just one touch. I work in America, for instance. America was a settler colony. Okay? It means that Europeans, when they settled there, took the land, okay? But, so the colonized were not Europeans, okay? Europeans were the colonizers, okay? Remember that. So, the colonized are Native Americans. So, you ask yourself, so who should get independence? How can a colonizer come and say that in 17-something, oh, we got our independence, right? You see? And the same, this is for Canada, for Australia, for Australia. They are what they call colonial nations. Because the actual colonized never went through decolonization. But for some reason we don't want to face that. We sort of say, oh, we celebrate American independence. Really? Surely. The independence of the colonizer. Right? Right? Yeah. I would urge all of you to please go to the internet and read a speech by Frederick Douglass on July 4th. He's talking about that. Right? He was talking about that. And he was talking about normalized abnormality. Right? Yeah. But we find it in Africa as well. I'll touch on 1 or 2 things quite quickly. I mentioned the language issue here. Okay. Every African community, they have mother tongues, their languages. Yeah. But how come in Africa we have now English, French, Portuguese are the languages which if we teach our children, and even parents in Kenya or whatever, will, if children complain for being humiliated by their teachers for speaking their mother tongue, the mothers will also beat them. Yeah, they are not beating, yeah, right? Or fathers, okay? That's normal abnormality. English is a normal language in Kenya. Presidents, when they address Kenyans about matters to do with the country, they don't speak Kiswahili, which is known across the whole country. They talk in English. Even, okay? That's it become normal. We go there, we're celebrating the population who fought for independence. Ooh, yeah. So, one more last thing I want to say about Kenya. I come from Kenya, and I'm very proud of being Kenyan and coming from Kenya. I'm proud of our history. Kenya used to be a white settler colony in the same way as America, in the same way as Canada, in the same way as Australia. Okay? Kenya was the first to break the trend of settlers becoming independent, because claim to be Kenyan, okay? Right? Through a movement called Kenya Land and Freedom Army, but popularly known as Mau Mau. In 1952, he said no, right? You know, you guys are seeing Kenya a white man's country, and they even wrote a book called White Island. We sang Kenya is a black people's country, and him, the noted song he played is by a Kenyan singer, very, very powerful, which used to be sung by Kenyans. Kenya is a black people's country. Kenya was the first to break the trend of that was set by America, set by Canada, and New Zealand. Even South Africa was trading that way. Zimbabwe was, Kenya was the first to say no. Yes. Yeah. And it's ordinary people who said no. One of these leaders called Kimavi. He is Mama fighters, because they were in the forest. They were the ones who used to have, now known as red rock walking, but for them it was natural red rock, because they had to do that. They had to move from place to place. Okay, quickly change. So instead of, so they used red rocks. But in 1963, the Mau Mau came out of the forests or mountains. People in Jamaica saw it. Yeah, and they admired Mau Mau anyway. That's the dreadlocks came from Kenya, right? But Kenya honestly was the first. But Kenya has also now normalized abnormality. Yeah? The language of power in Kenya is English. Instead of mother tongue first, Kiswahili, and then English or any number of languages. There's nothing wrong in knowing many languages. Absolutely. It's empowerment, as I said. But you normalize that. Okay. So it's for you. One last one. Okay. And this came when I was having dinner with my fellow professor, and professor, we did together in at University of California, Irvine, and this professor had a very good student he liked, and she took us to a restaurant where I could Filipino food or something. And it's very nice food. And they started talking. Where does Philippines come from? Philip was a king of Spain who colonized those islands. Huh? Philippines means the country owned by Philippines. Right? What have they done now? They have normalized that. Children say we are Filipinos or whatever they say. They celebrate. We are the children of Philips. Right? Their president, everybody. That's another case of normalized abnormality. Okay? Philips does not own those islands. There are people who lived in those islands when they had a language and everything else. Okay? But now the whole nation, composed of several islands, identified with it. Even now call their language the Philips or even. So what I'm saying, that's very normal. I'm Filipino or whatever, right? And please, some for Philippines here, I am not saying, I'm not being rude, or I'm just saying the reality is, I repeat, normalized abnormality. And it's for all of us, wherever we are, we look for abnormality, even here, or inserted normalized abnormality, even here in England, or not England, but Britain. Is it Great Britain or Britain?
United Kingdom of Great Britain.
Oh, United Kingdom. Oh, yeah. Look at the abnormality.
Yeah.
Look at the Irish and their language. I don't go on about the Scottish, right? Wales.
Yes.
Did you know the Welsh kids were humiliated in the same way when they were caught speaking Welsh in school? Do you want me to carry up something here around their neck saying Welsh not? So for those of us who are here, who are originally from Kenya, please, even in England, your language first, but equally well as master English as well, but not at the expense of your mother tongue. Yeah. Don't normalize giving your children European names if you're from Africa. Why? We have beautiful African names, but they're normalized so much so that, I will give one example. For example, I know some very highly educated African women in Kenya, but they write, say Margaret, their first name, then they have their own name, or your name, and then their husband's name, or their father's name. What they do, the middle of their real name, they turn it into a dot. They write, say, Wanjiko, they write Margaret, full name, W dot. Their father or their husband. So the African name becomes a dot between colony and patriarchy.
Ladies, gentlemen, everybody, John Roe Thermac and Togesai Guma.
Hey, my people! I'm a poor man. Will you give me a nickel if I tell you a story? Yes. Will you give me a nickel if I tell you a story?
Yes.
Okay. Look at me, eh? Okay, this story is about how death became to be a part of us. How what? Death became to be a part of us. I can't hear you. How what? Death became to be a part of us. Okay. Once upon a time, in a land called Kenya, there was a man. His name was, what shall we call him?
Kamau.
Kamau. His name was?
Kamau.
This is Kamau. Stand up, Kamau. Kamau, say hello to Kamau. Now, Kamau was a very, in all of Kenya, the vegetation and the greens and all the food and the plants could feed Kamau and his cow. And his what? Cow. What was his cow called? Malu. And his cow Malu. Yes. Now Kamau would walk all of Kenya for a long time with his cow. But after some time, Kamau started to feeling this feeling inside him. The feeling, we shall call it loneliness. What? Loneliness. Lonely? Kamau was lonely. But at the same time, in heaven, there was a king. Hey! What does the king say? Hey! I said, what does the king say? Ngugi! Hey! What was the king's name? Ngugi! In heaven, had children. Many children. Nieces and nephews, many of them. And they would play in heaven. But once in a while, ladies and gentlemen, the rainbow would touch from heaven to different parts of the land. Kenya. And the children would slide down the rainbow all the way to Kenya to play. They would play. We shall get to the party later. Now, one time, two of the children, the two sons and the daughter, what shall we call the daughter? Wangari. Wangari. Hey, everybody stand up, please. Hey, see how beautiful she is. They slid down to Kenya. And they saw Kamau with his cow, sitting alone, very lonely. And the daughter, you have to help me because me also can't remember the names. So that Kamau was very lonely. And they were scared at first because they have never seen a man of Kenyan before. But they came to him and name again. Wangari. Ask Kamau, are you okay? He said, yes, I'm fine. But I am so lonely. And she felt so sorry for him. I know, don't laugh. So she promised to marry him. To do what? To do what? Hey! And Kamau was happy! So this Wangari, yes, and the two brothers went back to heaven, to the king. And they told, and she told the father, I found a man come out in Kenya. He's very lonely. And I promised him that I am going to marry him. Oh, the father was angry. She was what? Angry. The father was angry. How could you, my daughter, promise to marry a man without discussing with me? But one thing the father could not let her do is break her promise. Break her what? Promise. So, the father gathered the entire clan in the heaven. Have a meeting. And he said, my daughter here has found a man. Because of her good heart, she promised to marry him. Now, she's going to go to Kenya on the rainbow and marry this man. But no one here should tell that son of mine is a very, very bad son. What shall we call it?
A bad son.
What shall we call him?
John.
John, you know. Hey, that's a European name. Let us call him John. Now, who shall be John? Yeah! Stand up, John. Hey! Sit down. Right. So, the father told, Go to Kenya and marry this Kamau. Go and marry him. But do not let your brother John know because he is very troublesome. He is what? Troublesome. So she said, yes, let us go. She went. But she forgot something. In Uganda, there was no chicken. And she loves chicken. You do. I knew it. So she packed her chicken, she packed everything to go to Uganda.
To Kenya.
Hey, to Kenya! Yeah, baby. To Kenya. Hey! But just before when she got to the front of the rainbow to slide down to Kenya, she realized that she forgot something. She forgot millet to feed the chicken. So she had to run back where?
Over the river.
No, to the store. Just to the store. She went to the store to get the millet, and she rushed back to get to the rainbow. Before she got to the rainbow, who did she meet? Hey! And John said, "Where are you going?" And she said she was very scared. I don't know. I'm going to marry someone in Kenya. Hey, but you did not tell me. And she was very innocent, so she gave up all the secrets. She told him everything. And John was very mad. And John said, "You know what? You go to Kenya, but I will follow you. I will follow you in Kenya and I will find you." Hey, so, our sister, sleep one guy, thank you very much. Slid down the rainbow, hey, going to Kenya. And she found her man, Kamau. Hey, I feel a wedding coming. Do you feel a wedding coming?
Yeah.
Hey? Yeah. Come out, you must know a wedding song.
Of course.
Hey, tell us, come. And they were happy. And they were happy for a long time. Until one day, John decided to visit Kenya. John came down to Kenya to see this newly wedded couple. And he said, "You have done something without asking for my permission. I want what? Dowry." Aha. Now, Kamau only had one thing, which is the cow. It's getting serious. Eh? And Kamau said, "John, I cannot give you my cow. How will I feed my children milk? How will I go about my getting anything?" And John refused. Kamau refused to give the cow. And John said, "You know what? Your firstborn child is mine. When you give birth to your firstborn child, I will come and claim him." I know, yes. But the new couple thought, "No, this can never happen. This can never be." So they said, "Yes, we promise you, go." John disappeared, went back to heaven. Years later, they grew all sorts of different crops in Kenya. Coffee, now wildly now everybody wants to drink Kenyan coffee now. Because it was grown by these two. After so many years, they had a child. What shall we call the child?
Maisha.
Maisha. Maisha. Stand up, Maisha. The child was called Maisha. As soon as John heard of this news, John flew down the rainbow to come and claim his prize. But the love that these two had for this child, they could not let John take it. They refused. They refused John. And John was very angry. Very, very angry. He tried everything, but they said, "No! You shall not take Maisha, our little girl from us." Thank you. So John said, "You know what? I will show you who I am. You will see me. From now on, I will come back to this land, Kenya, without you knowing. And I will take any child when I please to. They thought he was joking. John went back. Now, it so happens that in Kenya, from time to time, a child will disappear. Might be a little boy, a little girl, an auntie, an uncle, a grandfather. We don't know why. The couple don't know why. But we do. Because John kept his promise. My children, this is the story of how death began to be among us. But do you know what? It could never take away the joy and the beauty, the love that made. What is your name? Promise to marry. Come on. Death could never steal that. Ever so often, the children gather to celebrate and to sing and to laugh and to be together. What is the song that they sing, my brother?
The wedding song.
Yes!
You are baby, bibi harusi, you are baby, hanga ikena. You are baby, bibi harusi, you are baby, hanga ikena. Aye, hanga ikena. Oh, hanga ikena. Aye, hanga ikena. Ah, hanga ikena. Oh, hanga ikena. Ah, hanga ikena.
Now, I am honored and privileged to be introducing somebody from Elder, Professor, King, Dr. Ngugi wa Thiong'o's delegation. You will see that he has come with quite an amazing lineup of people. And we will now be hearing from Dr. Muthoni. I was told not to look at Dr. Muthoni because they might not recognize their own traditional name. So I'm going to look away. Dr. Muthoni.
Hello, everyone. Hello again. Okay, my name is Muthoni. Today I'll be very careful not to mention that other one. Very, very careful because I was the first to be challenged about making or turning my name into a dot. And I think I'm going to correct that one even when I go home. And I hope you are all going to do the same. Now, I feel honored to be here. I am from Kenya. And before I go further, I think I will introduce very good people, colleagues of mine who accompanied me for this great occasion. So with me, the man just getting in, that is, today we are meeting the baptism. So, Mwasia, my colleague at the University of Nairobi, and we have Gunga, we forget the other one for now, also in order to be safe and feel as part of the party. So both of them are my colleagues at the University of Nairobi, who honored with me the invitation by Racial Justice Network to come for this great event, because to us it is great. One, because Ngũgĩ wa Thiong'o is from Kenya, and we have missed him for over 20 years. those of us who are scholars have never forgotten the impact he made onto our lives. Because if you all know, he is a great writer, recognized all over the world, but away from the country of his origin for circumstances colonial. And in fact, for the reasons that we are holding this discussion today of decoloniality. Because it is ironical that he was born and educated in Kenya and was teaching at the University of Nairobi, founded a very strong department of literature, in fact changed the way it used to be run, but he was too conscious about the wrong things that were going on in our independent government, where he noted, we thought we were independent, but we just replaced the whites with other black whites. So he started writing and even opened a center for performing arts in his own village, not even in the city, not even near Nairobi University. And it became too popular, and those of you Google him, I know, and you may have Googled him. There was the very famous book, I'll Marry When I Want, in English, but otherwise in Kikuyu, Gahi Kadeda, I'll Marry When I Want. It became so popular, and people used to come now from all over the country to go to a small village in Kiambu to watch the play performed by ordinary people, not even professional artists, because he opened it for the sake of the ordinary people in the village. And what the contents of the play, we are calling for decolonization of what was going wrong in the country, politically, socially, and economically. And this earned him the wrath of the leaders who came over, or who took over. I think within a month, he was in a maximum prison in Kenya, where he was detained without trial for over a year, before he was freed as a prisoner of consciousness. Yeah. And that's when he fled the country. Now, even after being mistreated by the very people he was trying to help, it did not stop him from becoming an international ambassador fighting for decoloniality. And therefore, because I was supposed to talk about the impact he has had on us, especially from Nairobi, this is a sign of the kind of impact he has had on us back at home, and that is why we have traveled all the way here. Now, the same impact led to daughters like Wangari, who learned in Kenya, then later came to the UK, and remembered, I think, I don't know whether she expected to be embraced in the UK, but when she came and her experiences made her long to go, to fight for the rights of the minority in the UK, later connected and realized coloniality still continued as neocolonialism in Kenya, and we had become colonized in the mind, and this fight required to be extended to our country. So I am so grateful today when I talk about the impact that Ngugi has had on us, because today Racial Justice Network has not only been operating here, but has extended internationally, where we collaborate as the University of Nairobi, in addition to the Kenyan activists, so that what we come up with can reach the ears of the simple people, the leadership, and even the educated. So if you Google later in the day, you find Ngugi's books, even in exile, were always leaning towards decolonisation. And when Wangari started an organization to fight decolonization, she's the one who discovered Ngugi, by the way. And maybe at this point I can mention that Wangari happens to be my daughter. Very passionate about our history, and that is how she was able to trace Thiong'o through activism when she got into contact with Geduku. Come on. When she got into contact with Kamau in her work. And may I say, let me be vain a bit and say that as a family, I think we have this interest that we didn't know. Activism and fighting colonization. Because I myself and my colleagues here read and were examined in literature Thiong'o's books. I personally studied The River Between. I think Mwasia, The River Between, Black Hermit,
and
Weep Not Child. So they chased our author and our writer because of his ideas, and then the Ministry of Education accepts their great books and allowed them to be used by the ministry for examining students in their A-levels. And personally, why I said I'll be vain a bit, I was Nyambura in that book. Oh. The story you know, sort of encouraged me as Nyambura, because I'm a product of two sides, those experiencing coloniality and those who are resisting. My grandfather was a traditional medicine man, my paternal grandfather, but my maternal grandmother was a missionary convert, even today buried in the mission compound in the church in Central Province. And here was a child who has a liberal mind, being told to close my ears when the traditional dances were being sung during circumcision ceremonies. So my mother would say, please close your ears so that you don't hear those things. And then I go to high school, where the sweetest songs came from those children that had come from traditional homes. I learned all of them in school. I was entertaining people, singing them, and I got punished so many times because I used to do it at night. They sounded sweet. So when I started teaching, because I taught in high school, I think I taught differently from what I was expected to. And that is where she gained some information that she wasn't getting from the school curriculum. So what am I saying here? An impact in that I could dare teach other things other than the accepted ones, but then they created an interest in one of my children. And not only my child, but my sister also here, at least she lives here, but she's also another advocate for decoloniality. So that is why I said you allow me to be vain a bit. But all in all, Ngugi's impact has been felt worldwide. He has written many books, you know, and very recently he started writing in what he was preaching here, the mother tongue. In fact, the books I'm talking about are being translated for everybody else to read, but otherwise they are written in mother tongue, and there are many. And then now that we have internet, we are able to see the great rewards that he receives and recognition from other organizations, which he may never know in Kenya. But we have agreed here, after this meeting and after the interaction with the various universities, this fight on decoloniality is not going to end here, which is the evidence of the impact he has had. You know, the older he gets, the sweeter his words out to us, and the younger generation are demonstrating it. So, thank you, Professor. Keep it up. We saw the blessings. Thank you, RJN. Keep it up. Keep connecting us. And thank you, my colleagues. Thank you, the fraternity, for all of you who are here, because in this, we are going to move together. Goodbye. Thank you.
Many thank you all, Mother. Thank you so much. Very inspiring, and thank you for taking us through that journey. A journey that, whilst your family has experienced by being Kenyan, many of us have experienced by just basking in the glory of this work that this amazing man has done. Professor, the next speaker is one of the postgraduate students from the Center for Equity and Inclusion. A son of the soul by heritage, born and raised in Sheffield, but an inspiration to me personally. Everybody please welcome Meiko.
Good evening, everybody. Hope everyone's blessed. Okay, I want you to just join me in a quick 30-second practice, all right? Just to set the mood right now. I'm just going to get you just to close your eyes if you feel comfortable in doing so. And let's just land in this space that we're in right now. We'll give thanks for the energy that we've got in this space, and that we're able to bring our full self here, and our ancestors with us as well. I want you to bring some awareness to your body, and see if there's any tension that exists in your body right now. It might be in your jaw, it might be in your head, your forehead. It might even be manifested in your hands. And just feel it. Don't judge it. Don't analyze it as such, but just feel it. And just feel and experience what it means to be as a human in this space right now. When you're ready, take a big inhale and exhale. All right, cool. Hello, so as introduced, my name is McCall. I am from Sheffield, and I'm a PhD student at the University of Sheffield. I'm currently studying how the UK education system impacts the mental health and the well-being of black students, looking at secondary schools. So essentially looking at how racism exists within schools and how it impacts our black young students. But alongside that, I also do a lot of community work. So I run my own mentoring organization where I mentor young black boys that get involved with crime, knife crime, gang crime, and also get excluded from school as well. So I facilitate them in school, I spend some time with them, and I kind of just act as a positive black role model for them. In our society right now, we're lacking in positive black role models. A lot of the people a lot of the black men that young boys look up to it's following a cycle where they've not had that presence in their life. And what it means to be a black man is what society is showing them, whether it's to be on the street, or maybe you have to just do sport, or maybe you just have to do music, or you have to be a bad man. But I'm coming to show them that, you know, through the connection of your roots and your culture, what it means to be a black man in today's society. So that's what I do alongside my PhD. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the research, and I'm going to do it in a form of not necessarily a presentation, but as a conversation, where if people have got any input or any feedback, I'm so open to it because I'm a community researcher, and I'm doing this for people in this room. I'm not doing it for the university, I'm doing it for our community. So if there's any feedback or anything you want to speak to me about, I'd be honoured to hear that. So, like I said, I'm looking at the UK education system. I'm looking at how young black boys get impacted by it. And by doing so, we have to have an understanding of education within schools, within a colonial historical context. So during the colonial period, Europeans and Christian missionaries would come to Africa, and they would come to convert African people. They would enforce their own languages, their own belief systems, and they would create kind of schools and education systems based on Eurocentric thought by maintaining white supremacy, teaching them that their ways of living, the way that they speak, the way that they express themselves is inferior to the white man, inferior to the European customs of living and learning. And this is something that is kind of carried on from time to time, and we can see this theme that is existing in today's education system as well. So when we look at the current UK education system, we can see that black boys are overrepresented when it comes to higher exclusion rates, ability, when it comes to sets, they're often overrepresented in lower set groups. Their overall experience of school is lower. When you look at the representation of teachers in schools, it's lower. When you look at racism and their experience of being a black child in school, it's often negative. And also when you look at the grades that they're getting, it's a lot lower compared to their white counterparts. Now, a lot of these statistics are explained by using what they call a deficit approach. So this is often explained by saying, well, you know, black kids, they're not as interested in school, or the culture, the black culture doesn't take education as seriously. But by using these explanations, what it does is it undermines the existing structural inequalities that exist in society today. It exists how racism continues to oppress and disadvantage black students. And there's many ways that that happens. Like I said, through the representation, through getting excluded, through just how they experience school. So my research is looking into this and how highlighting these factors and these structures and how it impacts their mental health and their well-being. Now, being influenced by Ngugi or Thiong'o's work and how we can decolonize the mind and decolonize how we understand things, this is how I've looked to do my research. So when I'm looking at mental health and well-being, how we understand mental health and well-being is often through a westernized lens. It's often understood through the mind and, you know, maybe an imbalance in chemicals, by using labels. Maybe this young kid has got depression, maybe this young kid's got anxiety. And it's often understood very scientifically through the brain. However, what I'm wanting to do in my research is understand their experiences and understand their mental health and their well-being, but doing this through the medium of the body. So it's a form called somatics. And essentially somatics, if you've never heard of it, is a focus on the mind to body connection. So what the exercise that I got you to do at the beginning, by bringing focus to your body, your hands, feeling tension, that there is somatics. This is what you just did. And sometimes we store trauma in our body. We store stress and tension in our body, and our mind's not registered it. Especially as black people, because we've been taught that our bodies or sides of inferiority. We've been taught to detach ourselves from our bodies and not have any connection with our sense of self. During slavery, they've just been commodified, they've just been objectified. And we see this even today through the media and just through today's society. So my method and my way of understanding young black boys' mental health is through the body. So an example would be, if I'm seeing a young person and he's coming into class, right, and maybe he's got a history class and it's about slavery, he might walk into the class like this with a bit of a bounce, right, and his fist might be tense. And he might not register that. That's the way that his body's responded to that environment is due to how he's registering what's going on around him, how he's registering the way that he's been racialized as a black body. Because a lot of young people, going back to what we spoke about, language is a barrier and they struggle to use the English language as a way to understand and comprehend and articulate the way that they feel. How can we expect a young black person to use the English language when the English language is the language of the oppressor? So by using the body as a practice, it's a way of embodying the self, understanding the self on a deeper somatic level. And this is what I'm going to be doing when I'm doing my research. Asking these young people to bring awareness to their body, how their body feels, what their body represents, and how this represents who they are and how they are feeling in this moment. I've just finished my first year of my PhD, and a lot of it was just reading. So the second year involves going out and doing the field research, doing these practices. So I'm sure I will definitely update you on what's going on and the findings that I've been getting. But that's the direction that I'm going in right now. And like I said, I'm very open to people's feedback, suggestions, and advice going forward. And once again, thank you for holding space with me today.
Now, our last act before you get your dancing shoes on. You ready? The King, Your Highness. Those dancing shoes need to go. Yeah, there they are. I see them. Yeah. Our elders, you're still here? We've got you? Yeah? Lovely. Thank you. For this next part, allow me to introduce. There's so many ways I could introduce them, but this trio is a collective of young people that we have seen grow, a collective of young people who, through their artistry, have nurtured, embraced, supported, and given light to who we are through their poetry. Dearest audience, for one final time of performances, please welcome Danae, Sile, and Warda.
Thank you so much, Chiwe. As I want to say in my language, I'm from Zimbabwe. I am Debele, so to say thank you, Nyabonga Kulu. Salbonani, everybody, Salbonani. Nyapila Linjan. Ikamalami Sletoguhle. My name is Sletoguhle Spanda. It means we bring beauty. And I'm honored, along with my wonderful poets as well, we're all honored to be in front of you today sharing our work. We're all going to take turns performing a poem for you guys. My poem that I'm going to do is called Melanin. I want you to just look at your hands. Look at your hands and look at your skin. That beautiful pigment that is shining right now is melanin. Do you know how powerful that pigment is? If you don't, I really would advise you to do some research on the melanin, what the pigment itself and what it means. And when I did my research, this is what came out. My melanin hugs my skin with so much love it glows. My melanin is my heritage, passed down from my ancestors who once stood on this earth. They carved their homes on mountaintops. My melanin is my gift, a symbol of beauty that no one can take away. It reminds me I am molded from the very ground I walk on. I am precious like gold mined by my greatest grandparents, who are right here, standing with me to witness their wealth, their love, their commitment to making a world a better place. My melanin is power, not to conquer or introduce hatred in the tongues of my children, but to help them build relationships that sustain a lifetime. Relationships that are a lifetime. My melanin is music that invites joy into your hearts and rhythm into my joints, so I can move with grace, with pride, and with love for all beings. My melanin reminds me of my true calling. It reminds me to love and to honor me so everyone can see what true freedom is. My melanin is protection, a doorway to receiving gifts and wisdom from the sun, the true star that brings us life. So I walk with a smile on my face because I am walking gold. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sylvia. It's an honor to be in this space. Professor, thank you. Thank you for the work that you do. Thank you for the work that you've done for paving the way for young black women, young black men in this room like myself, scholars in this room. I'm from Jamaica, and I came to England when I was 8 years old. So the reality that I know is what it means to walk without having to look over my shoulders all the time, having to walk without worrying about what a person may think or judge me because I'm a color, walking with ease, walking with a deep exhale. And the work of your work, Professor, has been, I think, important to reclaiming myself and reclaiming my roots, reclaiming my culture, and decolonizing my own mind, and trying to do the work out there through my poetry. So thank you. The poem that I'm gonna read, my hands are shaking, you know? Jesus, listen. So this poem that I'm about to do is called an ode to blackbirds that keep on dreaming. In this house, we frolic in an empty garden. The only time we look over our shoulders is to check if the sun has kept its smile for us. Our feet would greet water, paddle it back and forth, calling it to greet us back. It would tell us stories of the Igbo and Ashanti, show us Nzinga and Akua, Kofi and Kwashi. They would tell us of their children, Nana and Amina, and weave our myths in a garland of hibiscus flowers. There would be no one to smite us and damn us to hell, and our names would not be forgotten or left to rot in the carcass of colonial history. They would live on the island of our bodies and summon the native tongue from its hiding place. In this house, our people would be angels, blackbirds in flight, our sing-song voice a hymn for the living, and our stories a praise song for the departed. Thank you.
That was so moving. Again, thank you so much for asking me to be here. I've been so inspired, and also just a reminder that I really need to talk my language more. I felt quite ashamed not going a couple of times because I do use English probably more than I should, and I've often found I'm Somali that it was the language I used most with like my grandmas and my elders as well, and it's just, you know, just as relevant with the younger generations as well. I've just been so moved by powerful professors, male, women, from across Africa, and I just feel very humbled to share this space as well. I'm going to read this poem called Somaliland, and I wrote it after the second time I had been back, and I was trying to explain to people the difference between Somalia and Somaliland. That bit different, but a lot of people didn't know the difference, and I just tried to reimagine it if it was like a man. So Somaliland. Rope hair hangs from kufis. His sapped face glints with gold. There is a gap between his teeth. How I long to live there, privy to a kinder place, where hands are formed by the love of daughters, where children master the languages of God and mathematics. And after curfew, women sing forbidden gabes. We see a shepherd in his movements. In his fists, diplomats, nursing the burnout of a loyal heart. He is the man who stayed behind, nicknamed Officio, honouring his first son as Muhammad. From here, I watch his body skin itself of loss and grow into a new life overseas. Oh, how I long to put him on the map. This very real thing. This shoehorned boy. This black man of an island. Thank you very much.
Racial Justice Network delegates on the Ngugi or Thiong'o delegation from every part of the world possible, I imagine at this point. The Center for Equity and Inclusion at the University of Sheffield, my fellow colleagues at African Voices Platform, and our host today, Utopia Theater. Can I say a massive thank you to each and every one of you?